Scottsdale, Phoenix.
Coming right up, another fun varsity sports show.
In 2019, the JV Sports Show podcast began with the idea of spotlighting young people in our community. In time, that podcast evolved into radio, television, and live stream, and through that evolution, new ideas have enhanced delivery, giving a stage to students both in front of and behind the microphone in Arizona and beyond. Thank you for supporting the Varsity Sports Show, now the Varsity Media Foundation, a 501c3 educational organization. The Varsity Sports Show is once again proud to partner with Grand Canyon University Club Sports in 2023 and 24. Join us in our coverage of GCU Club Sports on Saturday's Varsity Sports Show and the rest of the week. We'll cover hockey, soccer, baseball, rugby, lacrosse, and more. The Lopes are back on the Varsity Sports Show.
Hi, kids. This is DJ Soulman from the Funk Junkies, and you're listening to the Varsity Sports Show with my man Vince Delicio. And what's your last name?
It's Delicio.
Okay, that's right. That's what I thought. Yeah, right.
AM 1060 KDUS Tempe, Phoenix, and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale, Phoenix.
This program is paid for by the Varsity Media Foundation, a 501c3 nonprofit educational organization, and its partners.
You're listening to the Varsity Sports Show, home of Arizona's youth, high school, college sports, and you, empowering education and enabling dreams, right here on KDUS AM 1060 in Arizona. And now, welcome to the Varsity Sports Show.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Varsity Sports Show on AM 1060 KDUS, Arizona. My name is Vince Delicio, and what an amazing morning. We had a bunch of rain this week, but it's beautiful this morning here in the Valley of the Sun, Phoenix, Arizona. Welcome to the Varsity Sports Show. We are at Hubbard Studio in East Phoenix, a stone's throw from my old stomping grounds where I grew up here. And used to ride my bike up and down these streets. But anyway, now I'm driving here. So we are joined this morning. We've got an amazing show. It was an amazing week and night of football. That's like 99% of stuff that we're covering. We're going to get into some other things as the fall goes on. But got an incredible crew this morning joining us here in the studio. We are joined by our in-studio producer behind the glass, Mr. Aaron Decker. And then, of course, in the studio, in what we affectionately refer to as the fishbowl, because everybody can see all the time, we've got our amazing crew, starting with, from the Cronkite School of Journalism, Mr. Aaron Nemiroff, and we have from Arcadia High School, one of our Scottsdale Unified School District interns. Her name is Ella Wolter-Sanchez, who grew up in the same neighborhood I did. And then, of course, Cloe Vanlankvelt, who is from, did I say that right?
Yes.
Okay, he's from Mountain View High School, one of our Mesa School District amazing intern team members. And so, first of all, starting with you, Aaron, good morning, welcome. And how does it feel? This has been quite a whirlwind. You were broadcasting a game in Tucson last night.
Yeah, I was. Thanks for having me on, Vince. I saw Horizon play the Mountain View Mountain Lions.
Yeah.
And Horizon dominated that one.
They really took it to them, didn't they? That
did.
was quite a game. I was amazed. We'll talk more about that as the game goes on, or the show goes on. We're going to have Coach Andy Litten from Horizon joining us in hour number 2. So anyway, Ella, so what's this experience? Good morning. What's this experience been like for you? You're a senior at Arcadia. You're in a very unique situation, you and Chloe both, but you're representing the Scottsdale district with us. How does that feel?
It's such a great experience to represent my community and be able to be in the industry as a senior in high school. I never thought I'd be able to do an internship this young. But I'm excited to start my journey and to start to go to Cronkite in the fall.
I always tell people, it doesn't matter how old you are. You look at if you have the talent and you have the desire and the grit to get it done, you're going to be successful. And you look at, this is before your guys' time, but there was this band that was big in the 70s called the Jackson 5. Mm-hmm. And the most famous member of that band was a 6-year-old little kid who had the most talent, arguably, although Tito may beg to differ. He had the most talent, and that was Michael. So it doesn't matter how old you are. If you've got the grit, the desire, and the wherewithal to get it done, you're going to get it done. So welcome to our team. Chloe. So Chloe, Mountain View High School, well represented, the Toros. How does it feel? It's been pretty quick for you in getting going.
It has been, but I really would not have it any other way. I think having interns in Mesa is really important just because it's a massive district.
Yeah.
There's a lot of schools that need to be represented. And if it starts with the Toros,
there you go.
Toros up, I guess.
That's it. So the campus of champions, they affectionately refer to you as. I love that. But anyway, so this is quite a blend. We've got an incredible base of talent, not only in this room, but within our organization as a whole joining us this fall. We are Cronkite School of Journalism's largest internship provider, and we've got partnerships with other schools around the state. The Tempe Union High School District, Chris and Ashley have joined us. They're out of Tempe High. They're going to be interning. They're interning with us this fall already. As we said, Scottsdale, thank you so much, Amy Downs and Dave White, for helping this to happen with Scottsdale. And then, of course, the Mesa District, and specifically Vicky Shoemaker and Mountain View Athletic Director Joe Goodman in helping this happen here. And we're just hoping this continues to grow and spread. And then, of course, Karen Bordelot from the Cronkite School of Journalism in helping to continue to facilitate our partnership with Cronkite. And we've established a partnership with the University of Florida. So you're going to hear from Bennett Solomon later in the show. He's out in Gainesville, although he might be licking his wounds because I think they lost the other night. But he put together some nice reporting for us. And you're going to hear him more throughout the fall as we go through. So quite a nice blend. We've got 26 staff joining us, including a virtual online learner named J.R. Lambright. J.R., it presents every other week, presents what we call JR's Texas Tales. It's kind of think of a Paul Harvey-ish type of reporting, storytelling. For those of you that in this room especially that don't know who Paul Harvey is, he's only one of the biggest legends in radio, and you'll have to look him up to find out more. But JR's Texas Tales, that report is going to be up this week, and it'll be coming up at the end of our show. So, all right, so we've got a lot of reporting coming up. In this first segment, we have a segment from our very own Dorian Zavala. We've got Jason Goldie presenting a ski report. We got Carter Mackey, Chloe, one of your fellow students, our other Mesa District intern from Mountain View, presenting a report on Mountain View sports and football specifically, kind of a preview of their season. When we come back from the break after the segment, we're going to be going live to the Bronco Report with Brophy Broncos head football coach Jason Jewell. He'll be joining us on the Varsity Sports Show to talk a little bit about their game last night. They were out in California, played Cathedral, and they got home early this morning, so hopefully we still catch him awake before he leaves his school and talk to him for a few minutes, and much, much more. Incredible content from our incredible team. Live guests, a ton of them. We got all the high school coaches of the teams we covered last night. We did 5 games last night, including 2 games in Tucson. We've got guests that you guys have booked here in the studio. We'll learn more about them, interesting people in the community. Guys, I say this every week. You miss a minute, you miss a lot. Don't go anywhere. Welcome to the Varsity Sports Show. Thanks for joining us. Aaron, take it away.
Hello. I'm Dorian Zavala reporting for Varsity Sports. As the 2023 MLB season is coming closer to an end, we might be seeing the last games of Shohei Ohtani in an Angels uniform. Before the trade deadline, the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim were 4 games behind the division lead and 2 games out of the wild card. They traded 2 of their top 3 prospects in a trade for Giolito and another trade for Randall Grichuk. Fast forward 3 weeks later, and everything has completely imploded for the Angels. Ohtani is injured and might need his second Tommy John surgery. Mike Trout came off the IL only to go back on the IL. And on Wednesday, the Angels waived 6 players, making them available for 29 other teams basically for nothing in return. Lucas Giolito, Matt Moore, Reynaldo Lopez, Dominic Leone, Hunter Renfroe, and Randall Grichuk are on the list of names that will likely end up being picked up by teams in playoff contention. What's next for the Angels? What's next for Mike Trout? Will he eventually ask out of Anaheim? One thing is for sure, the last 6 years did not go how the Angels front office envisioned when they signed Ohtani. And in a month, this experiment will likely be coming to an end. For Varsity Sports, this is Dorian Zavala.
This is Jason Goldie with the Varsity Sports Show Snow Report for the first week of September 2023. I'm going to cool you down, Arizona, with a look at the ski and snowboard conditions in the Southern Hemisphere. First stop is Portillo, Chile. Portillo is the oldest ski resort in South America, located about 100 miles from Santiago. It is a favorite among pro skiers because lift ticket sales are limited and the on-piste runs don't get tracked out. Snow conditions this week are 74 inches at the base and 80 inches at the summit. Portillo got 83 inches of pow-pow in the last 10 days. You're looking at bluebird days, with a high of 38 and a low of 15 degrees overnight. 6 out of 14 lifts are open, with 12.4 miles of ski and rideable terrain. Next, let's check out the Remarkables in New Zealand. The Remarkables has a large beginner area, a stash run, several ski parks for park rats, and backcountry excursions for hardcore skiers looking to shred the gnar. The corduroy is 20 inches at the base and 47 inches at the summit, and all 7 lifts are open. The forecast high is 28 degrees under partly sunny skies, with lows of 18 degrees and very little new snow expected. And finally, Perisher, Australia. Located in the snowy mountains between Sydney and Melbourne, it's the largest ski resort in the Southern Hemisphere. It has 3,000 acres of skiable terrain in 4 connected areas. Perisher has 47 lifts and hundreds of runs, with 8 award-winning terrain parks and 2 halfpipes, plus a steezy après-ski scene. There's 24 inches of machine-groomed corduroy at the base and 43 inches at the summit. 39 out of 48 lifts are open. The forecast is 47 degrees under cloudy skies with a low of 25 degrees overnight. There's little to no new snow expected this week. And that's your snow report this week. For the Varsity Sports Show, I'm Jason Goldie. Tips up.
Hi, this is Carter Mackey from Mountain View's Campus of Champions, and I'm thrilled to bring you the upcoming football schedule for our outstanding Mountain View High School teams. Grab your jerseys and foam fingers, because this month is packed with thrilling matches. Here's what's in store for varsity this September. On the 1st, Mountain View varsity team will be taking the field at Sykora. Come September 8th, catch the varsity team battling it out with Verado. On September 15th, they'll be going head-to-head with Basha. Fast forward to September 22nd as the varsity team faces off against Desert Ridge. And wrapping up the month, on September 29th, the varsity team will be competing at Westwood. But that's not all. Our junior varsity teams are also in action. On September 7th, the junior varsity team is away at Verado. September 14th is also an away game at Basha. The 20th, they'll be playing at Desert Ridge. And on September 28th, they'll be taking on Westwood on home turf. And finally, for our freshmen, on September 6th, they face Verado. On the 13th, they go up against Basha. The 20th, they're in action against Desert Ridge. And September 27th, they're playing at Westwood. In other news, it's not just touchdowns the Mountain View community is scoring. Mountain View's Football for All donation drive is making a difference. On Friday, September 8th, from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m., head over to Jesse Parker Field for a night of giving. We're collecting essential items at the entry gate, including clothes, non-perishable foods, hygiene products, and water bottles. Let's show our support for both our teams and our community. Together, we can make this a touchdown for compassion and care. Stay tuned for more updates on the game results and community initiatives.
Welcome back to the Varsity Sports Show, AM 1060, KDUS, Arizona. Vince in studio with Chloe, Ella, and Aaron. Guys, so quite a show. Great reporting so far. We've got a bunch more coming up. When we come back from the break, we're going to be joined by Brophy Bronco head football coach Jason Jewell, fresh off a win at Cathedral in San Diego. Just got back into town. Congratulations to them. And then after that, Chloe's got a great interview with a young man named Michael Adams. Looking forward to that. Guys, stick around. Don't go anywhere. Thanks again for joining us here on the Varsity Sports Show. Go Varsity.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings from 6 to 9 a.m.
This is just something I like to call breakfast.
With big name guests, timely sports information, and more on KDUS AM 1060.
I'm Shea Garrett from the Varsity Sports Show, and I am looking forward to immersing myself in high school sports in the Valley. I have a passion for sports and storytelling, and I am so eager for a chance to combine these two this season.
Training Better Athletes was founded by renowned football coach Ron Sowers with the philosophy of training well-rounded young people in mind and body. TBA is the go-to for middle schoolers through the pros. Coach Sowers has worked with all sports but specializes in football offensive and defensive line skills training. Whether it's one-on-one or group training, reach out to Coach Sowers at trainingbetterAthletes.com or call him at 602-435-9064. You can't cheat the grind. Hey, local businesses, join the Varsity Sports Show and promote your business on our weekly radio show and game live streams. We have several options to promote your business affordably and reach our incredible audience. Call, text, or email us anytime if you'd like more information on joining our team. The Varsity Sports Show will work hard to promote your business through our audio and video platforms while also promoting all of our young people. 480-779-9437 or email us at varsitysportshow.com. Hey guys, Vince here to talk about Angel Dentistry. It's where my wife and I have gone for over 10 years, and we trust them with our routine and extensive dental care because they care. Dr. Amber Angel is an Arizona native, born in the town of Miami, and has been practicing in the Valley over 20 years. For general to comprehensive dental services, call 602-788-2008, located off of Cave Creek Road just north of the 101 in North Phoenix. Angel Dentistry, proud supporters of our young people and proud partners of the Varsity Sports Show.
KDUS AM 1060 is the home to the Dan Patrick Show, the Doug Gottlieb Show, and Sports Map Radio. Catch all the sports content here on AM 1060.
This is the Broncos Football Report with Brophy Broncos head coach Jason Jewell on the Varsity Sports Show, AM 1060 KDUS, Arizona.
Welcome back to the Varsity Sports Show, AM 1060. Vince DeLisio in studio with Cloe Vanlankvelt, Ella Wolter-Sanchez, and Aaron Nemiroff. And joining us on the line for the Bronco Report, head football coach Jason Jewell, just returning from San Diego and a win. Gosh, Coach, I bet that trip was a lot better after savoring victory.
Oh, heck yeah. I got about 2 hours of sleep on the bus and about an hour and a half sleep when I got home. But I feel all right, though, getting the win.
Hi, this is Chloe. I just have a quick question. How do you think playing schools out of state benefits your teams?
Well, I think for a lot of reasons. One, I think it's fun. So whenever we try to get these schedules done, I want to do things and play games that are fun for our kids. And playing a Catholic school, a good Catholic school, is something that Brophy is always going to be interested in doing. And we played Cathedral Catholic in the past. It's been quite a few years. So again, a fun experience for our kids. And just because they get to go and experience something just a little bit different, stay overnight, you get really like a college game day type atmosphere, like you were playing college football, and just a lot of camaraderie and bonding happens, and I think our kids did have a ton of fun. Mission accomplished.
Hey, Coach, Aaron Nemiroff here. I was just wondering, did you see any signs of fatigue from your players, either before the game or during the game?
No, one kid was cramping at the very, very end. He had been dealing with a illness this week, so nothing. I mean, the weather there, I think at kickoff it was like 70 degrees, so not quite what we experienced the week before.
Hey, Coach. This is Ella Wolter-Sanchez. I was just wondering, do you think this win is a preview of what we can expect from the Brophy Broncos and their football team this year?
Well, our thing has been over the last year or so, trying to win close games. We haven't been able to really do that. And then last week, to be honest, I feel like we blew the game, at the very end and lost a close one. And then now we've turned around and we won a close one and finished in the fourth quarter. So I'm hoping this leads to a positive change.
Coach, I know, and great questions, by the way, you guys. I'm looking at your schedule, looking ahead, and I know we never like to look back, but sometimes, if we don't learn from our mistakes, we're doomed to repeat them. And obviously, I know that you wish you could have last week's game back because it would likely be a different outcome. You never know against Williamsfield in that 1-point loss. What did you learn this past week that maybe could be a little different heading into games like what you have next week hosting Sunny Slope?
Really, it's Vince, we just talked about with our kids and trying to find a way to finish. And our kids, last night you could hear them saying, it's like, hey, we're not doing this again. So our kids were resilient, and I think they found a will to not lose and to finish that football game, and how we were able to, we were up 14 with about 3 minutes to go, gave up a long pass, and Cathedral punched it in. But then we operated our hands team perfectly. We recovered the onside kick. Our starting running back, Carlos Estrada, was out, and our backup, Harrison Chambers, was able to come in and move the chains to get us a couple first downs, and we placed the ball, in the middle of the field with 19 seconds to go, at probably the 10-yard line, and Connor Fury came in and hit the field goal that was the winner. So, we did a lot of things that we practiced. We practiced that scenario, and the kids were prepped for it, and I couldn't have been more proud.
Coach, if you were to hand out some game balls after last night's win, I know it's obviously a team victory, but to help propel you and get things going, to keep things on top, who would you give those game balls to?
Man, just off, I haven't watched the film, being on the bus all last night, but Charlie McGinnis played very well again. I think he had 2 touchdowns passing and 1 rushing. Carlos Estrada, our running back, had probably close to 100 yards, and a touchdown. Our offensive line, I don't believe, gave up a sack for the second week in a row. David Sharper, our sophomore receiver, had a breakout game. He had 1 touchdown, probably close to 100 yards receiving. He almost had another one, got caught like the 1-yard line. And then just on defense, without looking at any of the stats, I know that Jack Stevold, one of our DBs, he had 2 interceptions.
You don't want to look ahead beyond anybody, but what can you tell us first off about the Sunny Slope team and how things lay out the rest of the season? You got a tough schedule.
Yeah, without a doubt. You come to Brophy to be challenged academically and athletically, so that's why we try to get that tough schedule. Sunny Slope, their head coach, Dan Jacobs, is one of my oldest friends in the world. He and I went to the same high school, both went to Washington High. His older brother, Jordan, and I are in the same graduating class. So we're going to get our old head coach, Steve Chisholm, to come out and flip the coin. That's going to be a ton of fun. And then, obviously,
do you guys, Coach? Are you guys going to haze each other, like TP each other's house the night before the game or anything like that? You got anything planned for him?
No, not at all. It's all love between me and Sam.
Okay.
And then everything that runs around their quarterback, Luke Moga, very, very talented. And he's a very talented quarterback. Committed to Oregon, ran like 10.5, 100 meters. But they have a couple little shifty receivers that can really run too. And I know early on they gave Cactus all they could handle. I know they were up 9-0 before a couple turnovers changed that game for them. And then they had a big win against the Apollo team. Got 3 kids committed to the University of Arizona. So I haven't got a chance to break that film down yet. But looking forward to doing that today. So, again, another tough schedule from a team that's right down the road. I don't know the last time that Brophy has played Sunny Slope, but I think it's a game that needs to be played with the proximity of both of our teams.
All right, there you have it, folks. The Bronco Report, straight from the words of Brophy Bronco head football coach Jason Jewell. Coach, thanks again for joining us, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Have a good week.
All right. Chloe, we have a special guest joining us on the line. Why don't you go ahead and introduce him?
Okay, so we have a junior from Mountain View named Michael Adams, and he's been playing water polo for, I want to say, 6 years. He also is a part of the mountain biking team, which is also fairly new at Mountain View. I know at a couple schools they've had it for a while, but he's been able to, I want to say, bring a couple medals to our school, which it's helping.
Nice.
But, yeah.
Okay, Michael, welcome to the program.
Good morning.
Hi.
He's actually in Hawaii right now with his aunt cheering her on. She's running a marathon. Is that correct?
Yeah, we're in Hawaii right now. It's a little bit of a time change, so it's dark out right now.
Good morning. Okay, well, enough about her. You had the honor to represent Arizona along with Las Vegas this past summer with placing 4th in the nation, which congrats. That's awesome. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so this summer I had the amazing opportunity to go ahead and play in this year's 16U Junior Olympics with Team Vegas Water Polo. So I went up there a month before the tournament, or like a month and a half before, to really train and get in line with this new team I was playing with. And when we went, we actually played amazing, beat some crazy teams, played in front of awesome coaches. It was an awesome opportunity, and we got 4th for 16 and under in the nation.
Congrats. Can I ask you, where do you see this opportunity taking you in the future?
Well, especially from that tournament, there was a crazy amount of exposure. I mean, you couldn't go to a game and you couldn't look up into stands and see college coaches, college scouts, Ivy Leagues. I mean, it was crazy. But I definitely want to look into playing more past my high school career. But it's still super steep competition. Injuries could hold me back. So you always have to focus on right now and just do your best while I still can.
Yeah, of course. What do you say about, the people you were with? What do you have to say about the people you were able to play with?
Oh, I love those teammates to death, man. I met a couple of them just this summer, but over that month we became so close and really became a family for this tournament.
Okay. Well, thank you. Good luck. You did great, and we look forward to having you back anytime soon. Congrats
thank you.
Again.
Thank you.
Welcome back to the Varsity Sports Show. My name is Tortorella, and today I want to talk about the 2023 Arizona Diamondbacks. Now, if I had a song to describe the 2023 Arizona Diamondbacks, it would be Katy Perry, Hot and Cold. The hot being the beginning of the season. The Diamondbacks were top of the division and the National League for a little bit, as they were the surprise team of the year. But, as good things always happen in Arizona sports, they don't last that long. And after the All-Star break, the Diamondbacks fell drastically down the standings, as they went 5-20 after the All-Star break, with the offense being kaplunked, their bullpen being kaplunked, and injuries in the starting rotation really held them back. They've righted the ship since that 5-20 stretch, as they've made their way back to the wild card spot. But those inconsistencies are still very apparent. Their positive is that they are very resilient. They were 5th in comeback wins this season with 35. But on the same coin, they're 7th in blown leads this season with also 35. And they're the only team in the top 10 with above 500 record in that statistic. Torey Lovetto has talked about how this downward stretch that the Diamondbacks are on has been consistent through the last few years, as by the last month of the season, the Diamondbacks seem to plateau and then free fall. Lovello has pointed out that this time it's happened earlier, and they've had time to course correct, and they have, going on a 9-1 stretch. However, that was then responded with them being swept by the Dodgers, continuing to play into the inconsistencies. Can the Diamondbacks and Lovello right the course? Only time will tell, but they're cutting it very close to the end of the season. I'm Tanner Tortorella with Varsity Sports, signing off.
Welcome back to the Varsity Sports Show. So, great job. Wonderful segments, amazing, very informative. Michael Adams is 5:30 in the morning, so that's incredible. He set his alarm to join us. He's watching his mom run a marathon. Awesome, and good job with him. And when we come back from the break, we're going to be joined by Mountain View head flag football coach Jesus Arzaga. He doubles as the baseball coach out at Mountain View. They had a big win in our inaugural flag football game of the week on Thursday night. So, Chloe, you'll be managing that and bringing in Coach Arzaga when we come back from the break. Very excited, very nice man. And as we go through the rest of the show, we got a lot more content, a lot more live guests, and a lot more segments from our wonderful, amazing intern team. When we come back from the break here on the Varsity Sports Show, don't go anywhere. Go Varsity.
Catch the Doug Gottlieb Show weekdays from 1 to 3 p.m. right here on KDUS AM 1060 and online at KDUS1060.com.
I'm Lorenzo Lopez with the Varsity Sports Show, keeping you all informed with sports here around the Valley.
The Angry Crab Shack in Tempe, with an experience so good it remains indescribable, with something for every seafood lover. Try one of their amazing custom seafood boils, sandwiches, appetizers, and salads. Angry Crab Shack Tempe is located east of I-10 on Warner Road, 480-674-3847. The Angry Crab Shack in Tempe. Come ready to eat.
What's inside you? Is it strength? Is it speed? Is it knowledge of the game? Unlocking the greatness inside you means digging deeper, running faster, and going further than you can on your own. Banner Sports Medicine High Performance Center trains the athlete in all of us with technology, techniques, and hands-on experience customized to you. See what you're capable of by unlocking the greatness inside of you.
Interact with Bob Kemp's poll question on KDUS1060.com. That's KDUS1060.com. And while you're there, check out Bob Kemp's bottom line at KDUS1060.com.
You are listening to
the Varsity Sports Show.
The Varsity Sports Show. Thursday night
flag football game of the week recap.
Flag football game of the week recap.
Good morning. Welcome back to Varsity Sports. This is Cloe Vanlankvelt from Mountain View, Mesa, Campus of Champions. I believe I'm here with Coach Arzaga.
That is correct.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So you are honored to be, I guess, the first of Mountain View's girls flag football coach, along with boys varsity baseball, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. What do you have to say about just this past week? Your girls did amazing.
The record's one thing. The girls did okay. The cool thing about this is we ended up watching some film, and we need some time to fix some stuff. So we got a little banged up this week. The girls played really hard, but luckily we came out with 2 wins.
Hey, Coach, this is Aaron Nemiroff here. I'm a sports journalism student at Arizona State. What does it kind of mean to you to get the honor of being the first head coach for flag football at Mountain View?
It's been awesome, man. Something different is all these interviews that have been going on just because of the sport being sanctioned this year. It's something that's been huge for the state of Arizona. But it's awesome. Again, I'm a baseball coach, so coaching girls has been a little bit different, but it's a good different. So I've been extremely fortunate to have a good AD and a good principal around us, and just really good colleagues and people there at Mountain View High School. So really, really happy about it.
Hi, this is Cloe Vanlankvelt again. On Thursday against Perry, I believe it was Tara Metcalf who was player of the game. What made her stand out to you?
One of the biggest things about Tiara is that she just works really hard. She's extremely competitive as well. And when you're, as a human being, when you're that competitive, you're going to find a way to try to get your team to be successful. And we talked about it. She really likes to throw the ball long and try to do that stuff, but I told her, I was like, hey, you're athletic too, so if you have some lanes to run and be able to maneuver around the field and gain some yardage, and then let's do it. So as you can see from the stats, she threw, I think, for over 100 yards and ran for 100 yards, and just the testament of her as a freshman being able to learn and get better.
Coach, you guys are you're 2-0 right now, and you've got a big week coming up ahead in that you are heading over to Xavier and for a big matchup. Xavier, of course, always fields some great teams in general. What's the mindset going in? Obviously, you got some wins, you got some confidence, but in terms of preparation after those wins, you've done this a million times as a baseball coach. What's going to be the message, and what's the tone of practice going to be heading in?
Really what we talked about, and we have a 3-day weekend this week, so looking over at film, but most importantly, what we came out of it is we need to catch the football on both ends of the ball. Against Perry, I think we had like 6 or 7 dropped interceptions. We had 6 or 7 dropped passes. So being able to catch the ball and being able to move the ball both sides of the field, I think is something that's going to help us, because Xavier's one of the better programs in the state in regards to girls flag football, and they've done it the last 2 years in the intramural section part of it. So, it's really going to come down to who scores the most points or who has a better defense. So that's what we're focused on.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Coach Arzaga, for your time. We look forward to seeing your team progress, and maybe we'll see you guys at the halftime show for the Cardinals again.
Perfect. No, thank you guys again for promoting girls flag football and inviting me onto your show.
You're listening to the Varsity Sports Show on KDUS AM 1060. I'm Ryan Sykora. Thank you for being with us here today on the show. The golf season has come and gone. Norwegian Victor Hovland just won about $20 million in 8 days to end the season. Now it's time for the Ryder Cup, as the PGA Tour calendar year has come to a close. Every other year, the United States play Europe in an end-of-golf season competition, competing for what is known as the Ryder Cup. 12 members of the United States team from, you guessed it, the United States, match up in different golf games with 12 members of a European-based team, one that can include athletes from Spain to Ireland to even the Czech Republic. This past week, United States captain Zach Johnson finalized his 12-man roster for the September 29th start date, taking place at Marco Simoni Golf and Country Club in Rome. Scotty Scheffler, Xander Schauffele, Brian Harmon, Wyndham Clark, Max Homa, and Patrick Cantlay had already qualified on merit. It's a points-based system, leaving Captain Johnson to select Sam Burns, Ricky Fowler, Brooks Koepka, Colin Morikawa, Jordan Spieth, and Justin Thomas as his final 6 captain's picks. Thomas is the particularly controversial pick amongst the group, a long-touted champion at the game of golf, and one of the best players in the last decade on the American side. JT currently sits in the worst slump of his career, a one-time world number 1 who didn't qualify as one of the top 70 golfers on the PGA Tour this year. He hasn't won since the PGA Championship in May of 2022. However, Thomas's Ryder Cup record is stellar at 6-2-1, and undefeated in singles play. He enters his 3rd Ryder Cup as clearly one of the best team players the United States could have ever brought. The Ryder Cup is, after all, the preeminent team event in golf. More on Team Europe later this month on the Varsity Sports Show. I'm Ryan Sykora, and you're listening to KDUS AM 1060.
Hi, I'm Kobe Van Nort from the Varsity Sports Show, and today we're going to be talking about multiple Major League Baseball players getting waived from their teams this week. The Angels, Yankees, Mets, Tigers, and White Sox, all teams who I wouldn't expect to be out of it, are teams that decided that their players on expiring contracts weren't worth holding on to. The Angels specifically decided to waive 6 players, which is typically unheard of from a team. Now, especially the Angels, because a month ago they would have been considered buyers during this year's trade deadline, and they ended up waiving the same players that they traded for a month ago. Waiving players essentially means that the player can still play for the team until claimed by another. The waiver wire order is decided in reversed order based on record. So, for example, the Oakland Athletics would technically have first dibs on any or all of these players. Once a player is claimed, the team that claimed the player will be required to pay out the remaining salary on that player's contract. Teams are deciding to do this because they realize their playoff chances are slim to none, and waiving these players on expiring contracts can keep these teams under the luxury tax. The teams that are likely to pick up some of these players are teams that are in the running for the wild card. For example, the Marlins, Cubs, Diamondbacks, Astros, and the Reds are all examples of teams that may be in the mix for some of these players. Typically, in years past, there was a waiver wire trade deadline that took place about a month after the regular season trade deadline. Essentially now, they've taken out the trade aspect of it and just made it where the team that claimed them would be expected to pay the remainder of their salary. With the season winding down and many notable players now available, expect the next few weeks to be interesting for Major League Baseball. Again, I am Cloe Van Nort with Varsity Sports. Thank you for listening.
Welcome back to the Varsity Sports Show. My name is Zach Mott, and today we'll revisit the Cardinals quarterback carousel. Just a couple days after my story of Colt McCoy's outlook aired last weekend, McCoy was released on Monday by the Cardinals. The Cardinals acquired Joshua Dobbs from the Cleveland Browns for a 5th-round pick just a couple days earlier. With the Cards already carrying 4 quarterbacks at the time, this move screamed more incoming moves, and move they did. With the release of McCoy, as well as veteran David Blau, the outlook for the Cardinals is much different this week than last, so let's dive right into it. Dobbs projects as the likely starter, first, because he was traded for, and second, because he has a solid bit of experience after being selected by the Pittsburgh Steelers in the 4th round of the 2017 NFL Draft. Dobbs has moved around the league quite a bit, having been with the Jaguars, Browns, Lions, Titans, and now the Cardinals. Rookie 5th-round pick Clayton Tune from Houston is also in the mix for the starter spot. However, he threw for 218 yards and no touchdowns in 3 preseason games, a bit of a lackluster audition. Veteran Jeff Driscoll was released and re-signed a day later to the practice squad. Given the slew of moves made across the league over the last couple days, are the Cardinals still in the market for another quarterback? It appears unlikely, as they have 3 quarterbacks in the fold and seem unlikely to move off of them. The Patriots released young quarterback Bailey Zappi, as well as the Panthers released young quarterback Matt Corral. While Zappi re-signed with the Patriots practice squad, Corral is a possible intriguing option for the future of the Arizona Cardinals. For the Varsity Sports Show, I'm Zach Mott.
Welcome back to the Varsity Sports Show, AM 1060 KDUS Arizona. Vince DeLisio in studio with Cloe Vanlankvelt, Ella Wolter-Sanchez, and Aaron Nemiroff. Guys, last night, let's talk a little bit about last night. So I had a chance to kind of make my rounds to a couple of the games. And then I ended up at my son Matthew plays at Cactus Shadows. They had homecoming last night. Nice win. Congratulations, Coach Chris Dixon, for the big win over West Point last night for homecoming. But last night, let's talk a little bit briefly about your games. First of all, Ella and Chloe, you guys were out at Saguaro for Saguaro's home opener versus Mountain View. Chloe, talk about the environment last night.
I will say it was pretty packed. I've never seen an out of region game that packed in a while. It was good to see though. The environment was really good. I definitely believe in if your stands are packed, your players play so much better.
They play better
when they have that confidence behind them.
You the student section was very impressive to you.
It was. They had good music. They had good environment. It wasn't too. I mean, they did say some not so nice comments, but that's high schoolers for you.
High school.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ella, what about you? What stood out in your mind that was impressive about the game?
The whole environment. I mean, even though the Saguaro obviously is a dominating football team and they dominated Mountain View, it was still an electric game from both sides. It was they were both contenders the entire time. And it goes without saying, obviously, Saguaro is a dominating football team, and they had their second win, 44-20 over Mountain View. And their quarterback Mason Bray is just insanely amazing, and he won the Fiesta Bowl Superstar of the Game, and the Fiesta Bowl mascot was there too. So it was just a great game overall.
So and we can't count Mountain View out, Chloe, because obviously they had a big win last week over Queen Creek. They'll be back, and we're doing some games for them this fall. In fact, I think in about 2 weeks we are. Aaron, real quickly, last night, who was the main star of Horizon over Marana Mountain View?
Definitely Bodie Zamorano, running back.
Yeah.
He was a workhorse. They just kept feeding him the ball, rushed for close to 200 yards, got in the end zone twice. He was great.
Wow, nice job. Hey, when we come back from the break, Aaron, you've got a guest, Brendan Pricco. He's a photographer. He gets some insider perspectives from him on covering athletics. It'll be pretty cool. Looking forward to it. You're going to be running that interview. Guys, don't go anywhere. Stick with us here on the Varsity Sports Show, AM 1060 KDUS Arizona. We'll be right back after the break. Go Varsity.
Extra Point with local and national topics, betting lines, and banter. Weekdays 10 to noon on KDUS AM 1060, KDUS1060.com, and the KDUS 1060 app.
Hi everyone, nice to meet you. I'm Ryan Sykora. I'm going to be one of the interns this fall at the Varsity Sports Show. So happy to be with you guys this year. I've loved sports for as long as I can remember, and I cannot wait to be with you guys on Thursday, Friday, and even some Saturdays all this year.
Hey, local businesses, join the Varsity Sports Show and promote your business on our weekly radio show and game live streams. We have several options to promote your business affordably and reach our incredible audience. Call, text, or email us anytime if you'd like more information on joining our team. The Varsity Sports Show will work hard to promote your business through our audio and video platforms while also promoting all of our young people. 480-779-9437 or email us at varsitysportshow.com. When you think of family restaurants and sports bars, think Bonfire. Bonfire is part of the Tempe landscape, supporting local schools. Join the Bonfire Booster Club Challenge. Mention Corona del Sol, Desert Vista, Marcos de Niza, Mountain Point, or Valley Christian, and that school's sports program will earn loyalty points. The winner after football season will earn a fundraiser at Bonfire. Come for the food and fun, support the community. Bonfire, open every day east of I-10 on Warner. Show your game ticket all day Friday and Saturday and get 15% off. 480-306-6801.
Every Monday night, check out Ray Adams as he hosts the Monday Night Golf and Lifestyle Show from 6 to 7 p.m. here on KDUS AM 1060.
And we're back here with the Varsity Sports Show. It's a beautiful Saturday morning. We have a guest joining us. I believe it is Brendan Pricco. Brendan, are you there?
Yeah, hello. I'm here.
Thanks for joining us. I met you freshman year in the dorms. I know a little bit about your role with ASU basketball. Can you just let the listeners know about what you do?
I handle a lot of the video and photo content with ASU basketball, also through Sun Devil Athletics. So, stuff you see on the ASU basketball Instagram page and Twitter, Facebook, on those platforms. A lot of that will be either myself and my roommate. We both handle that. And then also from a basketball perspective, I've had to do different recruiting photo shoots before when recruits are on campus, and then making personalized content to send out to recruits and just different stuff helping out the program in that way whenever I can. So,
And you started doing this freshman year, correct?
I actually knew one of the assistant coaches at the time coming in, and he reached out to me about when we saw I was coming to Arizona State, about stopping by and seeing if we could work out a role for me to help with the content and help with the team, because he liked the work that he saw from me prior to me coming to Arizona State. And then so kind of just went from there. So yeah, it's been about 2 years now, a little over 2 years doing it.
That's great. What's it like interacting with the players and the coaches, being there on the court?
Oh yeah, it's really cool. Everybody there is really, really great. And even we've had, a lot of different coaching changes around the staff, and so every year it kind of feels like it's to meet somebody new. But everybody involved with the program has been great, and the players are always really great and cool and appreciative. And so it's just fun to also get a different look at the players, like a more personal look, besides just seeing them on your TV whenever they play. So it's a really cool experience, and that's one of my favorite parts is meeting the new people around the program.
It's really cool. Looking at your future, do you see yourself sticking with photography from here on out?
Yeah, kind of what I do with the basketball team is what I would like to do with a professional team someday. I think that's like the career goal is to be a creative for like an NBA team or an NFL team, baseball team, like et cetera. Any of those would be really cool. And yeah, so that's kind of the goal right now. So it's just trying to be creative and put out something new and just kind of keep getting better. So hopefully I can start working towards that once we graduate here in a couple of years.
That's great. Vince, do you have a question for Brendan?
Well, first of all, if the walls could talk, you guys met as freshmen in the dorms. That's awesome. But Brendan, when getting involved in this, and obviously, you're very good at what you do because otherwise they wouldn't allow you to continue to do it. But you've had a chance to meet some amazing people, and you probably have some stories of some things that you've seen behind the scenes. Is there one that, say, is G-rated that you could real quickly kind of tell us about?
It's hard to come off the top of my head, but I would say maybe just last year, the first practice I went to last season, and because I'm gone for the summer, so I missed like the summer workouts and stuff, and we had a lot of different transfers and new faces last year. And the first practice, I went and was filming. That was my introduction to Desmond Cambridge, and it was cool because he was just like, I didn't really know who he was because he was a transfer coming in from Nevada, and he was just like the most competitive person like I had ever seen. Like he was running around the court, like getting in people's faces, clapping. He hit like a big shot in like one of their scrimmages and was like running around yelling that it's a game-winning play. Like it was just my introduction to him. It was like probably like the most competitive person like I had ever seen, and so just to see that energy with him off the bat just right off the bat, and then to see how he progressed throughout the season to later hitting that huge game-winning shot against Arizona. I think that is just something off the top of my head that was cool to just see right away.
All right, I think that's all the time we have here today. Thank you so much for coming on, Brendan.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me.
Welcome back to the Varsity Sports Show. I'm Shea Garrett, and it is finally time for the NFL to make its return. Before diving into the season, let's get up to speed regarding the 5 head coaching changes that took place during the offseason. Right here in Arizona, the Cardinals hired head coach Jonathan Gannon. Gannon served as the defensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles and was instrumental in turning the team's defense into one of the best in the league. Although Gannon has 15 years of NFL coaching experience, this is his first head coaching job. Heading to Charlotte now, the Carolina Panthers were tasked with a coaching change of their own during the offseason. They named Frank Reich their newest head coach, replacing Matt Rule. Although Reich is new to the Panthers' coaching staff, he was the first quarterback for the franchise in 1995, so he'll feel right at home with the Panthers. Reich's arrival to the Panthers left an opening with the Indianapolis Colts, where he had previously served as the team's head coach. After Reich's departure, Colts replaced him with Shane Steichen. In Denver, Sean Payton is starting his 25th season in football as the Broncos head coach. Payton, who once led the Saints to the Super Bowl in 2010, was a big get for the Broncos. With the team having new franchise owners, the team's rebrand is off to the right start with a big coaching name like Payton. The last head coach change heading into the 2023-2024 season is Houston Texans, who decided on the defensive-minded DeMeco Ryans. Ryans, who was a fan favorite as a player for the Texans years ago, is their 4th head coach in the last 4 seasons. From a first-year head coach like Gannon to an experienced leader like Peyton, these 5 new hires are just one of the many reasons to be excited for another NFL season. With the Varsity Sports Show, I'm Shea Garrett.
Good morning, I'm Lorenzo Lopez here with the Varsity Sports Show, and I'm bringing you another edition of Premier League predictions for match week 4. We'll start off Friday at noon with Luton and West Ham. I think West Ham's going to win this game 2-1. They had a phenomenal game against Brighton, and I think they're going to continue their hot streak. Saturday morning starts off with Sheffield United and Everton. Sheffield United's going to win this game 2-1, but Everton will get their first goal of the season. Brentford and Bournemouth started off at 7 a.m. I believe Brentford will win this game 3-1. They had a fluky draw against Palace, but they're going to go back to their winning ways this weekend. Then we have Burnley and Tottenham Hotspur. This is going to be a 3-1 win for Tottenham, and James Maddison will get a brace, just because I threw him on my fantasy team this weekend. Then we got Chelsea versus Nottingham Forest. Call me crazy, but I think this game will end 2-2. Chelsea did come off a very good win against Luton Town last weekend, but Forest will be stubborn and will actually come out of there with a draw. Then we got Man City versus Fulham, the last game at 7 a.m. I'm saying 3-0 Man City and a brace from Haaland, just because I haven't captained on my fantasy team this weekend. Then to end Saturday morning, we have Brighton and Newcastle. This game's going to end 2-2, a lot of back and forth, and it's going to be a really good matchup, one to watch out for. Sunday morning is going to start off with Crystal Palace and Wolves. I think Wolves will be a little stubborn and is going to pull out a 1-1 draw at Selhurst Park. Liverpool and Aston Villa, I believe it's going to be a very high scoring game. It's going to end 4-2 to Liverpool, and it's going to be one of the games of the week. And to end off the match week, we have Arsenal and Man United. You're going to hear it here first, folks. 3-0 Arsenal. Man United has been awful on the road, and Arsenal is going to completely dominate them to end off the match week. That's going to do it for this match week's predictions. Last week I got 6 out of 10 correct, and one of them exactly correct, which was the Everton Wolves that did end 1-0 in favor of Wolves. Thanks for listening in on this week. I'm Lorenzo Lopez on the Varsity Sports Show.
On Wednesday, August 30th, the University of Nebraska broke a new record during its Volleyball Day in Nebraska event in Lincoln. The university's volleyball team hosted a match against the University of Nebraska in Omaha, and it set the all-time attendance world record for a women's sporting event. The attendance recorded was 92,003, all piled inside the university's football venue, Memorial Stadium. The previous record was set in April 2022 in Spain when Barcelona played Wolfsburg in one of the Champions League semifinals in front of 91,648 people. The idea was originally thought up by Huskers coach John Cook, and it was in response to rival Wisconsin breaking the volleyball attendance record in September of last year. Athletic director Trev Alberts helped Cook with the formation of the idea into a reality. The Cornhuskers volleyball team is no strangers to playing in front of big crowds. According to The Athletic, the Cornhuskers have now played in 9 of the 10 most attended college volleyball games in history. As for the rest of the season going forward, the win over the Mavericks pushed the Huskers' record to a perfect 4-0 this season, and Nebraska has yet to lose a set in any of their games. The team is currently ranked number 4 in the American Volleyball Coaches Association and is expected to be in the national championship conversation this year. Reporting for Varsity Sports, I'm Connor Manning.
So what I love about, first of all, this show is the fact that we bring everybody together. We get in here and we get a chance to talk and collaborate, and then, of course, all the amazing content from all you guys working hard, grinding throughout the week. But I also like the fact that it makes our community a little bit smaller. We get to unify a lot of things that we're doing and not have everybody kind of on an island, but we pull everybody in, and it's fun. It makes our community that much smaller, which is awesome, nationally, not just here in the state of Arizona. As I said, we've got one of our amazing team members that's out at the University of Florida in their journalism school. His name's Bennett Solomon, and he'll be doing a report a little later on, and then we'll be hearing from him throughout the fall live as well on the show. When we come back from the break, a little bit more of pulling that community together. We've got Coach Andy Litten from Horizon High School. Big win last night down in Tucson over Marana Mountain View. Then we have Jeff Alba from Arcadia High School's football program. He's a regular on our show and reporting on all good things Arcadia. They had a big win last night down in Sahuarita over Walden Grove. So, guys, stick around. Hour number 2 coming right up after the break here on the Varsity Sports Show, AM 1060, KDUS, Arizona. We'll be back. Thank you for listening to the Varsity Sports Show, where our mission is to empower education and enable dreams, creating an unmatched platform to showcase talent both in front of and behind the microphone in radio, television, podcast, and live streaming. The Varsity Sports Show, still your home for youth, high school, college, and you in Arizona and beyond.
Broadcasting from the Superbook Sports Studios, KDUS AM 1060 Tempe, Phoenix, and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale, Phoenix.
Hey folks, I'm Joel R. Lambright with the Varsity Sports Show, updating you about high school and college sports in Arizona and East Texas. You can find me on X at Joel RL News.
The Angry Crab Shack in Tempe, with an experience so good it remains indescribable, with something for every seafood lover. Try one of their amazing custom seafood boils, sandwiches, appetizers, and salads. Angry Crab Shack Tempe is located east of I-10 on Warner Road, 480-674-3847. The Angry Crab Shack in Tempe. Come ready to eat.
What's going on, guys? My name is Tortorella. I'm a senior at ASU at the Cronkite School. I'm super excited to be part of Varsity Sports, bringing you all the knowledge that I've learned over the years, covering baseball, softball, football, any sport you can think of, and I'm excited to bring that knowledge to you, the listener.
Thank you so much, Tanner. AM 1060 KDUS Tempe, Phoenix, and KSLX HD2 Scottsdale, Phoenix.
This program is paid for by the Varsity Media Foundation, a 501c3 nonprofit educational organization, and its partners.
You're listening to the Varsity Sports Show, home of Arizona's youth, high school, college sports, and you, empowering education and enabling dreams, right here on KDUS AM 1060 in Arizona. And now, welcome to the Varsity Sports Show.
Welcome back to hour number 2 of the Varsity Sports Show here on AM 1060 KDUS Arizona. Vince DeLisio in studio with Aaron Nemiroff, Ella Wolter-Sanchez, and Cloe Vanlankvelt. Guys, what a show. Hour number 1 flew by. I told you we'd be sitting here and it'll be 9:50 before you know it. But we're just flying through all of the amazing content, all the hard work you guys do throughout the week. And then, of course, the guests, talking about the guests. We are nationwide here, and we're incorporating a lot of different content. And if you pop on the show in the middle somewhere, you're going to miss a little bit. So that's just a little caution served, starting next week. Tune in from the very beginning so you catch all the good content here of this incredible platform that our team members here are utilizing and growing and getting stronger. Let's talk a little bit about last night. So we've been kind of going back to the well in talking about some of our games, and we had the two games down in Tucson, one of which we're going to be joined by a guest right now. Take it away, Aaron.
And now joining us is head coach for the Horizon Huskies football.
You are listening to the Husky Report with Horizon Husky football coach Andy Litten on the Varsity Sports Show, AM 1060 KDUS, Arizona.
And now we're joined by head coach Andy Litten. How are you doing this morning?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm wondering, great victory last night. How was that drive back to Scottsdale? Long trip.
It was a good drive. Yeah, it's always nice when you're on the better end of it.
Coach, that was your old high school, and now granted, it was the game was at a neutral site at Canyon del Oro. But how did it feel getting that win? Obviously, it felt good getting a win, first of all, but it had to be extra special for you because you paced those sidelines not only as a player and playing on the field, but you also coached at Marana Mountain View.
Yeah, it was really cool. Like I said, it's been kind of a surreal feeling. What was really cool is that I got to see some old faces that I haven't seen in a very long time. That it was at a neutral site, but that was actually the home field for my Pop Warner little football team when I was growing up too. So, like I said, there's a lot of cool memories going back there, and the best thing is that we got the win and the kids played well.
Hey, Coach, this is Ella Wolter-Sanchez. Looking ahead to next week against Willow Canyon, they had a 70% win percentage last year. How are you feeling about that game?
Yeah, they're we have a very good opponent. They won last night and threw the ball around quite well, and we got our hands full. Last year they had a great season, and I think that they're going to be a great matchup for us.
Hey, Coach, Aaron Nemiroff here. We saw Bodie Zamorano was terrific last night. Was that always kind of the game plan going into it, to just keep feeding him that ball, or was that more of an in-game decision, seeing how he played?
Yeah, so we stayed a little bit more on a run game last night just because it was a wet field. It has rained in Tucson quite a bit the earlier of the day, and wet field, very humid, and I just didn't feel like I wanted to air it out too much just because the conditions, and Bodie was doing really well, so we kept feeding him the ball, and so it wasn't necessarily our game plan. It was more of the ebb and flow of the game, and it's just how it worked out.
Coach, that wasn't just a win. I mean, that was a statement last night. What do you think some of the other teams that you're prepping for, particularly your game at Willow Canyon this week, what you think they're shaking in their boots a little bit?
No, I don't think anybody shakes in their boots, but I think that that we have to be accounted for, and I think that offensively last year we struggled a little bit, and I think that we put that behind us with our group, and our offensive line really leads the way with all of our guys, and we're really senior laden, and our skills are playing really well right now. We got a quarterback that's playing great, and so we're really excited about our offense.
Okay, hi, this is Cloe Vanlankvelt from Mountain View High School in Mesa. Kind of changing the gears a little bit, coming from someone who's been a part of a sportsman program since freshman year. Having a good connection with your AT at all times, I think, is a really important priority that all coaches should have. Just player safety should be number one. How do you think that plays a part in your coaching style?
Yeah, so we have a really great athletic trainer here. Is that you're talking about our athletic trainer?
Yes.
Yeah, so she, Jay does a great job. She's easy to work with, and I think that you need to have great trust between yourself and your athletic trainer, and when you build that good relationship like we have, it's easy to kind of have those tough, decisions and talks where might not always like what they're telling you, but but that their heart's in the right place and that they're doing what's best for kids, and I think that she does a great job, and I think we work really well together. And I think that the main goal for both of us is obviously to get the kids out there and have them be safe and sound and healthy. So, I just, like I said, I can't say enough good things about Jay. She does a great job.
Thank you.
Coach Litten, once again, congratulations on the victory. I think that's all the time we have here. Thank you so much for coming on.
Sweet. Thank you. Have a good one.
That was head coach Andy Litten.
I'm Stephen Buxton with the Varsity Sports Show, and today we're going to talk about one of the biggest stories in the MLB in years. In the midst of what many have called the greatest season by a player ever, Angels star two-way player Shohei Ohtani has been shut down for the year on the mound. This week it was announced that Ohtani had torn his UCL, and there's a chance that he would need his second Tommy John surgery of his career. Right after that story came out, reports also stated that the Angels had previously offered him an MRI, but Ohtani and his agent had refused it. This story had huge implications, most obviously his upcoming free agency. Until last week, it was a foregone conclusion that any team who even wanted to talk to Ohtani would have to start in the ballpark of 8 to 10 years and around $500 million, with some experts even valuing him over $650 million. Now, with the injury,
people are wondering, how much did this just cost him? $100, $200 million? With Ohtani no longer pitching this season, he is still the Angels' every DH, but the real question is, what are teams going to do with that contract? Nobody knows how it would be handled, with most speculating that he will require a massively incentive-laden contract that is mostly based on how long he can actually pitch and hit at the same time. What has already been one of the biggest stories of the last year just got even more interesting. And starting right after the final out of the World Series, the whole sports world will be wondering one thing: who's going to get Ohtani and how much is it going to cost them?
This is the Titan Report, featuring Arcadia Titans football on the Varsity Sports Show.
This is Ella Wolter-Sanchez here with Jeff Alba. Hello, Jeff. How are you doing this morning?
Hello. Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? I'm sorry.
Doing great. Doing great.
I'm from Arcadia High School, and it looks like we had a great win last night in Walden Grove. You want to talk about that?
Yes, I would love to. Yes, we did have a great win. It was one of those classic high school football games. Friday Night Lights at its best. Lots of drama involved. We were up early in the game, 21-8. Our senior Brady Forrest started off the game with an awesome kickoff return for a touchdown, and then we scored a few more, and we're up early. But credit to Walden Grove and their team and their coaching staff. They bounced back and started to cut it close, and then they came out really fired up after halftime to battle back in the game.
Coach Vince here. First of all, Jeff, nice win last night. Are you guys surprised? I mean, because, Arcadia's been kind of one of those teams the last couple of years where they've been in the conversation but haven't quite been able to get over the hump. You were a playoff team last year, finished 6-4 regular season. At this point now, you're 2-0 against some pretty good teams. What's going on that's different?
Great question. I'm glad you asked it. Personally, I'm not surprised. I've been around the program a lot since, last year in the spring and over the summer. And I knew there was something special brewing with this team. And now the results are starting to show on the field. But again, you never know until you actually get out there on the field to put everything into action. But again, the coaches have done a great job preparing the players. We've got some great senior leadership, 23 seniors on the team this year, and things are really starting to fall into place a little bit with these first two away games. Now we get to come back home next week for some home cooking against Ben Franklin.
Hey, Coach. Hey, Jeff. Ella again. So you did say there's something special, and I do agree that there's something special this year. It looks like Jeremy Smith had 69 receiving yards last night. Was he one of the top players, or who was your top player for the game last night?
Well, yeah, you definitely have to have Jeremy Smith in that conversation. He has really started off the season with a bang in the first two games. Again, one of our top senior leaders, wide receivers. We've got a lot of great weapons on offense. Braylon Rooney, again, our junior quarterback, has done a great job managing the game and spreading the ball around. But yeah, Jeremy had a really big night last night, and we look forward to him continuing, that production along with some of our other guys.
Jeff, Carter Pruitt, talk about his performance last night, because I believe he was our player of the game.
He was. And, what can you say about Carter? This guy is he's really been the anchor of both sides of the ball, to be honest with you. He's been playing both, defense and offense, and he just goes out there and just works hard and gets the job done and makes plays. And, we're really lucky to have him as part of the program, and he's going to be fun to watch the rest of the season.
You've got a schedule that is kind of mixed. You've got some tough ones in there. You've got some that, could go either way as you look ahead. And you obviously don't want to look past Ben Franklin, but you look ahead at the rest of the region and the schedule. How do things play out for you?
Yeah, that's the key, is to not look ahead. We got to take this thing one game at a time. I don't think that we're quite at that level yet to be looking that far ahead. So we've got to battle each week. But we are very excited to be back home the next 2 weeks and just play in front of our home fans and our home crowd, and hopefully put on a show and, win a few more games moving forward.
You're really working within the program, obviously allowing us to partner with you this season. We appreciate the opportunity. We're having a lot of fun doing it. But what you're working to really rally the community around Arcadia football. What are some things that you can tell people that are maybe kind of kicking the tires on the program, getting a feel for it, and talk about really promoting the program?
Absolutely. If you're in Arcadia and you haven't been to a game, get out to a game. Like I said, we've got our next 2 home games in the next few weeks. Come out and see this squad. You will not be disappointed. This team is committed. They've been working really hard. The coaches have been working very hard. And the product they put on the field is outstanding, and they're easy to fall in love with. So this is going to be a fun season. So grab your popcorn and let's get ready to roll.
There you go. Jeff Alba from Arcadia High School football, whose head coach is a 20-year NFL veteran, Ray Brown. 20 years in the NFL. Wow. Jeff, thanks so much for joining us here on the Varsity Sports Show. We look forward to circling back with you next week.
You're welcome, Vince. Have a good day.
You too. Guys, when we come back from the break, we got more football. We're going to be talking to Coach Conrad Hamilton from Desert Mountain. Big win last night. Little ugly, but he got it done. And I ran into him pregame. We had a little conversation. Very confident, and he's put a good thing together out there at Desert Mountain. So stick around, guys. We come back from the break here on the Varsity Sports Show for the Desert Mountain Wolves Report. Go Varsity.
Check out KDUS AM 1060 on 100.7 KSLX HD2. That's right, HD radio on 100.7 channel number 2.
This is Conrad Hamilton, head football coach at Desert Mountain High School. You are listening to the Varsity Sports Show.
Coaches, the Varsity Sports Show wants to be part of your team in 2023. We have a proven track record of providing the most coverage of your teams with Thursday and Friday night football. We will spotlight your players with multi-camera game broadcasts, pre- and post-game interviews, and segments on our Saturday morning radio show. With over 100 games broadcast in 2022, we will be exceptional for your team. Call, text, or email 480-220-4629 or info@varsitysportshow.com. Hey guys, Vince here to talk about Angel Dentistry. It's where my wife and I have gone for over 10 years, and we trust them with our routine and extensive dental care because they care. Dr. Amber Angel is an Arizona native, born in the town of Miami, and has been practicing in the Valley over 20 years. For general to comprehensive dental services, call 602-788-2008. Located off of Cave Creek Road just north of the 101 in North Phoenix. Angel Dentistry, proud supporters of our young people and proud partners of the Varsity Sports Show.
HD Radio is here for KDUS AM 1060. Check out your favorite shows and games on 100.7 KSLX HD2.
Nobody pray for me. It been a day for me.
Welcome to the Wolves Recap with Desert Mountain football coach Conrad Hamilton.
Welcome back to the Varsity Sports Show here on AM 1060 KDUS Arizona. Vince DeLisio in studio with Cloe Vanlankvelt, Ella Wolter-Sanchez, and Aaron Nemiroff, joined on the line by Desert Mountain Wolves head football coach and NFL veteran Conrad Hamilton. Coach Hamilton, I ran into you in pregame. I'm not going to tell the audience what we talked about. It was real quick, but you looked awful confident last night going into last night's game. How are you feeling?
Well, after a good week of practice and preparation things, you always want to feel confident going into the game. But I feel okay. We did get the victory last night. We're 2-0. I do believe right now our program or our team is playing probably B- football right now. Game was very, very sloppy on both sides of the ball. We probably had well over double-digit penalties, almost nearing 20 to be honest with you. A lot of disciplinary penalties and stuff like that, jumping off sides on defense, holding or unsportsmanlike on offense. So, there's a lot of things that we of course can improve at, moving forward. But that's why we wake up every day, right? We're striving for perfection. We're never going to get there, but that's why we want to, come back to practice and come back to work and, deal with the process of being in an elite program and an elite team.
Hey, Coach. Aaron Nemiroff here. Wasn't able to catch any of the game last night, but I have had the opportunity to look at the box score. See, you guys had 250 passing yards, over 150 rushing yards. How important is it to have a balance between those two facets on offense?
Yeah, I think, we always want to have a balanced attack. I think, you never want to be one-dimensional in anything you're doing, offense or defense. So, teams and opponents can kind of tee off and game plan and take away what you're doing, exclusively. So it's always good to have some balance, all right, being able to run the football, which we did a good job last night. Max Sheffrin was awesome. He rushed for over 100-plus yards, running hard, breaking tackles. He plays defense every snap as well, whatever. So he's an Iron Man for us, one of our better players on the football field last night for sure. And then Brady, was efficient again, completed right around or a little over 70% of his passes for the second week in a row. And he's got some good guys that throw the ball out there too with Tapley and Freeberg and Dylan Hipp. So, offense is clicking. Again, we're stalling a little bit in the red area. We had the ball on the 1-yard line again for the second week in a row and didn't come away with any points. And then sometimes here and there, penalties are stalling our drives. So, we're making progress, but again, things that we have to work on and clean up if we want to beat some of the better opponents here. These last 8 games are going to be a little bit tougher than what we had. We're going to get a little more resistance, I think. So we have to be better.
Hey, Coach, this is Ella Wolter-Sanchez. You mentioned that you thought that last night's game was a B- game. Like, how do you see your team, or who do you see on your team that's going to take it to A+ with this harder schedule that you have facing you in the next weeks?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I was being nice. I think overall we're a B- this year. Last night I don't think we're even a B-, just with all the, self-inflicting wounds that we had, last night. That their best play on offense last night versus us was probably hard count, but we shot ourselves in the foot on a lot of different things. But I think, it's early in the year. We do have some new players playing at new positions, on defense and offense, and just really getting into the rhythm of the season. I think, our team knows that we have to raise the level of play and the commitment and the disciplinary aspect for us to be better. This week we have a rivalry game versus Chaparral. So, again, they're always going to be an elite program, whether they seem like they're down or not. They'll be here in the Wolf Den, so we know we have to raise our game. It's a 6A opponent. And after that, we're playing the state runner-up in a short week. Going all the way back out to the west side in Cactus, on a Thursday night after a big game on Friday here. So schedule's not going to get any tougher, and we got to make sure that we're adding quality depth to our roster so we can have guys that can play if we get nicks and bruises, because we don't have a lot of depth at particularly in the interior O&D lines.
Desert Mountain football coach Conrad Hamilton. Coach Hamilton, thank you so much for joining us, and good luck this week as you guys prepare for your home opener versus only Chaparral High School, your former team from a few years back. So good luck, and we'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Awesome. Thanks so much. Bye.
Wow. So that was, Coach Hamilton, B-, C+. He strives for perfection, and that's one thing. When it comes to penalties, anytime we've talked to Coach Hamilton, and there have been some games where there's a couple, and for him, one penalty is too many, especially when it comes to things like hard counts and mental lapses, things like that. It's like it is such an irritant for him that he works on that and works on it and works on it and preaches it to his team. That even though they won big last night, 31-7 at Sunrise Mountain, he strives for perfection and he gets it. So they, as the season goes on, the home opener versus Chaparral, that'll be a big game for those guys out at Desert Mountain. And of course, we are privileged to partner up with Desert Mountain Wolves football. Great people, great families, and great coaching staff, as well as, of course, the kids. So definitely good stuff. We have coming up, actually, Ella, you could probably set this up because we have a guest that'll be joining us. Tell us a little bit about your guest.
All right, yeah, Daniel, are you on the line?
Yes, Ella.
Good morning. How are you? Yes, of course.
Good morning. I'm doing great.
So Daniel is a senior at Desert Mountain, and he recently did a pretty great thing for his community and the baseball community overall. Daniel, do you want to talk about your donation?
Yeah. So this past summer, I did a Spanish immersion trip to the Dominican Republic, and they have a great need for baseball equipment in the area. And in preparation for my trip, I organized a drive, and I ended up donating 300 pounds of baseball equipment and around 20 pounds of school supplies.
That's great. And how did it feel to donate not only in the Scottsdale community, but how did it feel when you went to the Dominican Republic and got to see the kids that actually you gave the equipment to?
So when I got there, the gear hadn't arrived yet, but they knew that the donations were coming. And the community in the Dominican, they are amazing. They were so appreciative. I actually just got a video from them saying, "Gracias, Daniel." Amazing. Just a great community out there. It felt great.
That's great. And are you still running donations today, or how can people help today?
So I grew the drive to 10 different schools throughout the valley. So that's amazing. If you want to help out, just follow the Instagram, vision.baseball.drive. Shoot me a DM. Anything helps. Yeah.
All right, amazing. Thank you for coming on the show, and we'll see you again soon. This is Wolter-Sanchez with Daniel Shanah from Desert Mountain High School.
Thank you.
I'm Parker Garash of the Varsity Sports Show, and college football is back. With a whole new slew of superstars ready to break out before our very eyes this year, lots of stories have come out regarding the transfer portal moves, freshman sensations, and coaches moving all over the country to find the best spot in hopes of winning a national championship. Some of the biggest matchups this weekend happen to have many highly touted teams involved. On Saturday, we will see the debut of Hall of Famer Deion Sanders in the Colorado Buffalo as they take on the TCU Horned Frogs. Coach Sanders said in his opening press conference that he was bringing his luggage and it's Louis. He wasn't messing around when he made that statement. Bringing in over 50 transfers headlined by Travis Hunter and his son to play quarterback, this Buffalo team will look totally different from what they were last year, only winning one game. TCU, on the other hand, saw their starting quarterback Max Duggan and star wide receiver Quentin Johnson head to the NFL. So this team under Sonny Dykes will also look a little bit different. One more matchup on Saturday to watch is North Carolina take on South Carolina. In this rivalry game, we will see some in-state talent from Arizona as former Pinnacle High School quarterback Spencer Rattler will take on Drake May. The weekend ends with a game between powerhouse programs. Florida State will play host to the LSU Tigers in what will be a big-time matchup. Both schools come in ranked in the top 10 and are loaded with talent on both sides of the field. This is a matchup that the Seminoles have won 8 out of the last 10 games, so the Tigers want to change the narrative and get some revenge come Sunday night. I'm Parker Gresh with the latest from the Varsity Sports Show.
Welcome back to the Varsity Sports Show, AM 1060, KDUS, Arizona. And great show. Great job. It's not just about sports. Sports brings people together, but it's about doing things for the community, and even not necessarily within our own community, other communities. Ella, I got to ask you, first of all, 2 questions. How did you find Daniel? And you know, he's a Desert Mountain student. You're at Arcadia. How did you find him? And how did he get involved with even wanting to do anything charitable? I remember when I was that age, I didn't care about anybody but myself.
Yeah. So first of all, I found Daniel through, obviously we're at the same district. So our district had posted a story about him, and I just wanted to learn more. And I just thought it was great because, like you said, it's so much more than just a game. And especially in baseball, there's so many different countries involved in the game. And I think we've seen that in the MLB definitely this year. And I think also how he was saying that we're running more programs. We're starting one at Arcadia as well. Mm-hmm. And his donations are stretching across there. So I think it's just a great thing overall too.
in how he got involved with setting up a charitable program to benefit kids in the Dominican Republic of all places. What made him think of that?
From what I had talked to him and what I had read, it's Arcadia or in SUSD we have great opportunities to do dual immersion programs, and so that's how he learned about the Dominican Republic and the need that they had there for not only baseball equipment but, like he said, school supplies and just overall helping the community out. This is amazing. I mean, he's a senior, junior in high school? He's a high school senior, and he set up a charitable program to collect baseball equipment and send them over to the Dominican Republic. Plus, he went out there. Can you imagine? I mean, what was it like for him when he went out there and to see these kids that were beneficiaries of all these baseballs and other equipment? I mean, that had to have been special for him, too. I mean, we're talking about something memorable that he's going to think about the rest of his life. Yeah, I can only imagine. I mean, the pictures are great of him with the kids, and I just can only imagine how great it felt to give back. And if anybody else wants to help, the Instagram is visions.baseball.drive on Instagram, visions.baseball.drive. If you want to donate, reach out, or just help his cause. Wonderful. Nice work. So great job on that, by the way. Way to go with and this was all your idea to bring him on, and you guys have had some amazing guests so far this morning. When we come back from the break, we got another amazing guest. His name is Zach Hill. He is the head football coach for the Saguaro SaberCat football team, another one of our amazing partners. But thanks to Mr. Matt Harris and Coach Lucas Ramirez, they are the partner that kick things off for us to really put us where we are today. We're going to get a recap of last night's big win for the SaberCats over the Mountain View Toros with Coach Zach Hill when we return from the break here on the Varsity Sports Show. Guys, don't go anywhere. We're on the home stretch. Go Varsity.
Ready to bring KDUS AM 1060 into your home with Alexa?
Hi, I'm Alexa.
Download the KDUS AM 1060 skill and enable. Then say, Alexa, open KDUS AM 1060.
This is where I start my day.
Hi, this is Mike from Beachin' with Beal, and you're listening to the Varsity Sports Show.
The Angry Crab Shack in Tempe. With an experience so good it remains indescribable, with something for every seafood lover. Try one of their amazing custom seafood boils, sandwiches, appetizers, and salads. Angry Crab Shack Tempe is located east of I-10 on Warner Road, 480-674-3847. The Angry Crab Shack in Tempe. Come ready to eat.
This is Saguaro SaberCat football coach Zach Hill, and you're listening to the home of SaberCat football, the Varsity Sports Show on AM 1060 KDUS, Arizona.
Need social information about KDUS AM 1060? Try KDUS1060.com, at KDUS AM 1060 on Twitter, and Facebook.com/KDUS AM 1060.
You're listening to the SaberCat Report with our dad, Coach Zach Hill, on the Varsity Sports Show.
Welcome back to the Varsity Sports Show, AM 1060, KDUS, Arizona, as we await the arrival of Coach Zach Hill. Big win last night. He might still be out celebrating. That was a heck of a game. Ella and Chloe, you guys were both at the game. You said the atmosphere was electric. Ella, I'm going to start with you. You in particular, you gave you were on hand to see the amazing performance by quarterback Mason Bray. Talk about what you saw. I mean, he accounted for 4 of the team's touchdowns.
Yeah, it was amazing. I was up at the top, so I got an overview of everything, and just watching how much the team depended on him and how much he brought the community together. I mean, I can't tell you how many number 14 jerseys I saw in the stands. They love him, but it was great. He was consistently performing, running, catching, and so many touchdowns.
Right. So he was responsible for 2 rushing touchdowns last night, and he threw for 2, so 4 touchdowns. And this is a guy last season, he played behind a pretty good quarterback in Devin Dampier. Learn that system, and then a new head coach comes in, competes for the job. There was some guy that transferred in, I don't remember who or where, but he left, and Mason won the job and did an incredible, and not to take anything away from the guy that transferred in. He was, obviously did a good job. But anyway, Mason won the job, has been playing amazing these past 2 weeks. They are sitting at 2-0 right now. They've got a game. Oh, boy, do they have a game coming up this week. Before we get to that, Chloe, I want to ask you about last night's environment. You said it was electric.
Yes.
You said that the student section was electric. Some of the observations that you had last night.
So I had my camera and tripod. I didn't move much. I was on the 25-yard line south end zone, so right in front of the student section. I had a really good view. I wouldn't trade it for the world. I love being on the sidelines. But as much as Mason Bray did his job, I do got to shout out our QB, Joe Germain's son, Jack Germain.
Yeah.
He was on fire. Like, he's had a couple injuries. He's been back and forth. But you could tell every game he takes what he learns. He brings it, and he tries to make his game better, which ultimately is what brings the wins. Yeah,
so talking about even the Mountain View side last night, there were a couple of performances in particular that you wanted to shout out.
Yes.
Who were some of those guys, and what were some stats?
So we have Isaac Jean-Pierre. He's a senior. Solid performance, finishing with 112 total yards. And then Gunnar Gornick, leading receiver for the Toros, with 81 yards receiving and 137 total all-purpose yards. I will say, our numbers on paper, not too intimidating, but when you play us, you see what happens. We did not leave a zero.
Before we talk more about Saguaro, Mountain View, who do they have next week?
Next week, it's Verado. It's home. Our home opener against Verado.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And then we'll be doing a couple of games for Mountain View football. Apparently, they got a brand new video board that is the envy of the state. So I am excited. I can't wait to see that. I wear glasses. I don't think I'll need to wear them that night in the stadium. So, but awesome. Another observation you had when we were speaking offline, Chloe, is you talked about the sportsmanship showed by both teams in kind of helping each other up. Tell us more about that.
There were definitely some ups and downs between both, but at the end of the day, they matured and they helped each other up, which is always good to see a good opposite team helping each other up, especially when the scoreboard isn't on our side.
Right. Not favorable, but still showing sportsmanship, discipline, teamwork. A lot of that comes from, it's top down. So Coach Germain really preaches that with his squad. Show a lot of discipline and character, because you'll have your day. Even if last night wasn't their night, next week could be their night. The week after could be their night. Amazing. Now, let's talk about Saguaro next week. They only host the Basha Bears, who they faced in the state championship, the open final last year. Basha comes in. Aaron, what do you know about Basha and their record coming into this game? Looks like 1-1. They had a big win week 1 against Westwood. Last night, they had a loss. It was a narrow loss to Highland. So they're going to be coming in kind of licking their paws a little bit, looking to kind of take it out on Saguaro. So we'll kind of see how that goes. So Bash, a big game coming up for them. Amazing all the way around. We've got some great games this coming week, and we'll talk more about it as the week goes on. But this coming Friday, we've got 7 games. We're coming back with all of our regulars, Arcadia, Brophy, Corona, Desert Mountain, Horizon, Saguaro, and I'll be traveling out to Las Vegas and with my good friend who's out at the UNLV, Ray Fletcher. He's going to be calling the Cactus Shadows Las Vegas High School game. I'll be running the production for that, so I'm going to be kind of in the shadows because Cactus Shadows is a little near and dear to my heart. My senior son, Matthew, is a senior on that team, so looking forward to going out and doing that game for the Cactus Shadows community and give me a chance to go to Las Vegas just overnight, get in, get out, come home. But looking forward to that. So we're going to have 7 games on the schedule for next week. So hopefully we'll bring all those to you guys. You guys will enjoy them and have a great time with it. Aaron, take it away.
This This is Coach Perone from My Recruits, and you're listening to the Varsity Sports Show segment of the Aztec Report with head coach Jake Barro.
All right, welcome to the Aztec Report. Joined on the line with Corona del Sol, Aztecs head football coach Jake Barro. Coach Barro went into last night's game 1-0. You left there, unfortunately, playing against Centennial. Ran into a bit of a buzzsaw last night. Tell us a little bit about last night's game.
Yeah, it was definitely a tough one for us. Centennial's a great football team. They do a lot of things really, really well. They've got some really, really good star players there that are going to make huge impacts at the next level. But we had opportunities. We did a lot of things well. But believe it or not, as crazy as it sounds, looking at the film, I do feel like we played better last night than we did in week one. It's just the opponent we were playing was Centennial. They're tough. They're one of the best teams in the state for a reason.
So when you look at last night's film, there's going to be a lot of teachable moments. Whether win, lose, draw, whatever. There's always teachable moments. What are some specifics that you're going to pull out of last night's game that are going to be kind of the foundation of this week's practice?
Yeah, we just need to be able to finish. We have a lot of opportunities. We have the personnel to be able to seize those opportunities over the course of a game. We just need to execute better, and our execution really comes down to finishing. When we get in the red zone, we have to be able to come away with points. That's been something we struggled offensively last night and week one. And then defensively, we have to be able to hold teams, when they're threatening in the red zone, and that's something that we, did well week one, didn't do great week two. So just being able to finish in crucial situations is going to be a big point of emphasis.
Hey, Coach, Nemiroff here. You guys have a pretty big game next week against Pinnacle. They are 2-0. I see they've been able to establish a pretty good rushing game so far this season, averaging 220 rushing yards through the first two games. How does that kind of affect your prep this week?
Yeah, another good team. We're in a stretch now of some really good non-conference teams that we play, and Pinnacle's one of them. So we know we have to stop the run. If we're going to beat them, we have to be prepared to stop the run and be physical up front. I like our chances to do that. I think our players are more than capable. We're ready, and again, that's another point of emphasis in practice. Being able to recognize the different concepts and blocking schemes they run up front, and be able to make plays at the line of scrimmage. Because if you let these ball carriers that they have, get a full head of steam and get running, it's hard to take them down. You got to meet them there at the line of scrimmage.
Coach, let's talk a little bit about your passing game. You've got a very, very exceptional leader in Connor Ackerley under center, and in order to really get things back on track, get things going with him, takeaways from last night and ways to attack things a little bit better this week. You've got Pinnacle next week.
Yeah, last night was a tough one, but we believe in Connor. He has my full trust and support. I know he's a good quarterback. He's a very good quarterback, and I believe in him. So I know we'll bounce back this week for sure. Pinnacle presents a lot of the same challenges that Centennial did, but at the same time, there's going to be a lot of the same opportunities to make big explosive plays offensively and with the passing game, especially with the personnel we have. So I believe in Connor. I think he's going to bounce back and have a really good week.
You have a strong defensive front led by Tyabella, defensive lineman, and in terms of the impact that those guys are making up front, how important is their role going to be in heading over to Pinnacle this week?
That's always the key, what you can do up front. Last night, one of the positives that we actually took away from the Centennial game was, the guys up front played well. Offensive line, defensive line, but both actually did a good job and held their own. And so, if we can continue to improve all the pieces around that and continue to get them to play at a high level, we're going to be in a good position moving forward. And our defensive line is going to be crucial next week against Pinnacle. if they can continue to hold that line and keep those offensive linemen from getting to the second level, it really opens up our chances to contain their run game.
Hey, Coach Aaron Nemiroff, once again. Isaiah McKay has been flying all over the field. He has 11 tackles through 2 games. What have you seen from him?
He's an aggressive player. He's a good player. He's tough. He's aggressive. He trusts his instincts. Very instinctual defensive player. Certainly has things to work on, just like everybody else. But we like what we see out of him right now. We have to improve some things. But I think by mid-season, end of season, he's gonna really be a big-time linebacker in 6A.
Well, there you have it, folks. Straight from the mouth of the leader of the Corona del Sol football program. It's Coach Jake Barro. Coach, thanks so much for joining us. We actually got a text from your old boss at Scottsdale Prep. Do you remember who that is? Who hired you over there?
Matt Harris.
Yeah, AD at Saguaro said he hired you, and if it wasn't for him, you wouldn't be where you are now. No, he doesn't say that, but
no, hey, he's probably right on that. Matt's a great guy, man, and I always enjoy catching up with him.
There you go, Coach. Thanks again for joining us. We'll talk to you next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. When we come back from the break, guys, I told you guys, it's already going into our final segment here. We have just been rolling, and when we come back from the break, we've got some special reporting. Lucas Metzner is going to be doing some college football previews. We got Bennett Solomon from the University of Florida reporting, and then we've got JR's Texas Tales. You don't want to miss JR's Texas Tales to end the show. So come back here on the Varsity Sports Show. Final segment coming up. We'll be right back. Go Varsity.
Your caddy, Ray Adams, takes you beyond the 18th hole on Saturday mornings with Great American Golf from 6 to 7 a.m. on KDUS AM 1060.
Hello, everyone. My name is Bennett Solomon, and I'm a senior journalism student at the University of Florida. I'm thrilled to be joining the Varsity Sports Show, and I'll be providing local sports coverage in Florida. You can find me on Twitter at B_Sale11, and I can't wait to get started.
Coaches, the Varsity Sports Show wants to be part of your team in 2023. We have a proven track record of providing the most coverage of your teams with Thursday and Friday night football. We will spotlight your players with multi-camera game broadcasts, pre- and post-game interviews, and segments on our Saturday morning radio show. With over 100 games broadcast in 2022, we will be exceptional for your team. Call, text, or email 480-220-4629 or info@varsitysportshow.com.
Hey, this is Ralph Farrell, Carefree's #1 sports enthusiast, and want to tell you about a new radio show that's really hitting the spot. The Varsity Sports Show, which takes care of everything from high school, junior high school, college, community college sports. You got to listen to it. It's on 1060 AM, Arizona. No? Yes?
Tune in weekdays to the Sports Zone with Bob Kemp from 9 to 10 a.m. on KDUS AM 1060, KDUS1060.com, and with the KDUS 1060 app.
Football season is finally back. I'm Lucas Metzner with the Varsity Sports Show, and I'm here to highlight some Week 1 college football matchups to watch out for. With Week 0 behind us, it is time for every Division I college football program to finally have a game. Coach Deion Sanders, a.k.a. Coach Prime, takes the field for the first time as the head coach of the University of Colorado. They will travel to Fort Worth, Texas to take on the 17th-ranked TCU Horned Frogs. It will be very exciting to see what the matchup will bring. West Virginia will travel to Happy Valley to face the 7th-ranked Penn State Nittany Lions. And the highlight of the Saturday night slate is likely to be 21st-ranked North Carolina coming in for a border battle with South Carolina. It should get chippy. It should be a good game to watch. And on Sunday night, the most anticipated matchup of the weekend will be 5th-ranked LSU traveling to 8th-ranked Florida State. This game has serious college football playoff implications. And with summer giving way to fall, Although the Arizona weather may not feel like it, football season is so close to being 100% back. High school football is back, college football is back, and the NFL season starts on Thursday, September 7th. It is an exciting time to be a football fan as the sport returns once again. For the Varsity Sports Show, I'm Lucas Metzner.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Florida Sports Update. My name is Bennett Solomon, and today we'll be talking some college football. On Thursday, the Florida Gators opened their season against the Utah Utes. Gators quarterback Graham Mertz, who transferred from Wisconsin in the offseason, completed 31 out of his 44 passes for 333 yards, which is the most he's thrown in his collegiate career. However, it wasn't enough, as the Gators struggled to execute and committed multiple penalties that caused them to fall 24-11 in Utah. Despite the loss, Mertz is confident the Gators can get back on track.
The only thing we can do now is learn from and move forward. I mean, we got a long season. There's a lot of tape on there that is controllable stuff that I'm going to put emphasis on every single day. And I know that our team will do that across the board, from coaches to support staff, weight room, players. The accountability will be raised after this because there's a lot of controllables that were left out there.
Head coach Billy Napier is entering his second year with Florida, and he got his sophomore season off to a rough start. However, Napier sees this game as an opportunity to grow.
You know, I think that you find out who you really are, okay, in difficult times. I think this group is going to respond. I know that group in there. There's fight in that group. You can see it already. The things that they're talking about, the words they're saying, the approach that they're going to take, and they're going to go back to work. We've got a lot of players that will continue to improve as they gain more experience in their career. So a lot of credit to Utah. Gators will continue to get better, and we're going to coach better and play better in the future.
Florida will play its home opener on September 9th against McNeese State, where they'll look to get their first win of the season. That's your Florida Sports Update. I'm Bennett Solomon.
You're listening to the SaberCat Report with our dad, Coach Zach Hill, on the Varsity Sports Show.
All right, welcome back to the Varsity Sports Show on AM 1060 KDUS Arizona. We Coach Zach Hill, big win last night over Mesa Mountain View High School. Coach, we had to run that intro again. Thank you, Aaron, for queuing that up for us. We had to do that again because, first of all, your kids did an amazing job. So I got to ask how you got them to do it, and also they did it for free.
No, that was awesome. It was a great idea. And we worked on it a little bit in the living room. And,
yeah.
And got it going.
Did you?
They committed to it. So it was pretty sweet. I think they're pretty excited about it.
You get it on the whiteboard for them and kind of script it out and say, you got to go here, you got to do this. You kind of in coach speak. And how many takes was it? You didn't yell at him, did you? Yeah.
Oh no, we didn't yell at him.
Okay.
Got the whiteboard out, talked it up. And we had a few run-throughs, a walkthrough, and then we put it together. So it was good. They had a blast, and I'm glad it turned out good.
Yeah. Coach, talking about turning out good, talk to us about last night's win. First of all, where would you be without Mason Bray right now? I know you got a good team, but yeah.
Yeah, Mason's been playing great. I mean, he's a tough kid. He's super athletic. He can create and make plays with his feet. He can make all the throws. He's been a great leader for us and doing a great job. So it's exciting to see him. I mean, he's been doing it in practice. Now to be able to get into games and be able to compete like he is, and it's been fun to watch.
Hey, Coach, Aaron Nemiroff here. Mountain View is actually winning after the first quarter, 14-13. What was kind of the turning point for you guys to get 17 in the second quarter and take it from there?
Yeah. No, it was a battle. We went back and forth, kind of trading touchdowns, and they blocked an extra point early on, and hit us on some big plays, and we hit them on some big plays, and then really the turning point was we ended up stopping them on a third down, and then fourth down we blocked a field goal and returned it for a touchdown, and that kind of started to separate things a little bit. And then we started getting some stops on defense. Offensively, I thought we moved the ball really well all day. We kind of shot ourselves in the foot a few times with some penalties. Offensively, it took us out of a few things. But, overall, I thought our special teams played really good. Our defense stepped up. With 3 turnovers. Offensively, we didn't have any turnovers, so that was a clean portion of the game. But yeah, I think our guys played hard and they went after it.
Coach, thanks again for joining us this week. Good luck. You got a big one. And next week, you've got a big one. And all of them are big. When you're Saguaro, every single opponent is big. You just, you put that target on your back, and that's why you get paid the big bucks. But Coach Zach Hill from Saguaro, he's laughing. Coach, let me negotiate your next contract with your AD.
Yeah,
I'll get
good.
that for you. I'll only take 20%. So we're going to get that thing negotiated.
I love it.
All right. Coach Zach Hill, Saguaro SaberCats, thanks again for joining us. Big win last night over Mesa Mountain View. Okay.
Appreciate it.
What a show, you guys. Amazing. I want to go around the horn really quick. Ella, I'm going to start with you. Ella Wolter-Sanchez, really quickly in 30 seconds. What was your favorite part of today's show?
I definitely think my favorite part of today's show is learning about all the different teams, and coming up with questions on the spot to ask the coaches and just getting to learn about the different personalities of each team. It was really great.
Mountain View student and intern Cloe Vanlankvelt.
I know it's going to be a little bit biased, but I think just having the spotlight on not just Mountain View but Mesa, and I'm excited to bring more just because Mesa is a giant district, and there's so many schools that are just like, I can't remember how many of our schools are 6A, but I know this freshman class this year is like almost close to 1,000, which is insane.
It is.
But yeah, just bringing a lot of spotlight to underlooked things, not just like schools, but sports like water polo, ice hockey, even the sportsman program. Hope to. Your
classmate Carter, Mackey, who's helping to split the Mesa Sports Report with you. He did a report on a young lady that turned 105 years old recently. So it's spotlighting all the great things in the community. Ella, you're doing some amazing coverage of Scottsdale events and things going on in the Scottsdale Sports Report. Our team at Tempe High is going to be doing a Tempe Sports Report. Aaron, real quickly, your thoughts on today's show?
I honestly loved it all, Vince. It was a really great experience. I've never really done anything like this. Very fast pace.
Yeah,
it's
I told you.
to get used to, but it was great. I loved it.
Awesome. Thank you to our co-hosts, Aaron Nemiroff, Cloe Vanlankvelt, Ella Wolter-Sanchez, and our guests, Mountain View flag football coach Jesus Arzaga, Coach Zach Hill from Saguaro, Coach Andy Litten from Horizon, Coach Jason Jewell from Brophy, Coach Jake Barro from Corona del Sol. This is all in one show, guys. Coach Conrad Hamilton from Desert Mountain, Jeff Alba from Arcadia High School football, Brendan Pricco, Daniel Shanah, Michael. What was Michael's last name? Chloe, help me out here.
Oh, Adams.
Michael Adams.
Sorry.
Guys, please be sure and check out all of our archived content on Twitter at Varsity Show, as well as Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Thanks to our producer, Mr. Aaron Decker. And join us back here next Saturday at 8 a.m. for the Varsity Sports Show on AM 1060 KDUS Arizona. My name is Vince Delisio, and now we are going to end the show on JR's Texas Tales. Take it away, Aaron.
Victor was born where resilience grew as naturally as the fields. In a community where collective nurturing was the norm, he witnessed the erosion of in-person connections overtaken by the digital wave in the oncoming decades. Graduating Kilgore High School in 1983, Victor embarked on a different journey, answering the Navy's call that same year, becoming part of the team that guards the seas as a boatswain mate. After the Navy, a roommate's connection led him to Fayette, Mississippi, where he met his roommate's grandfather, Charles Evers, the first African-American mayor in post-Reconstruction Mississippi. And Evers sparked Victor's aspirations. Holding to the notion that leadership transcends ballot boxes, encompassing the civic duty of community involvement, Victor ran for mayor of Kilgore and lost twice. Running a third time, this time for a city council seat, triumph graced Victor Boyd as he became the first black elected official ever in the City of Stars. From this triumph, a journey of service blossomed. In 2015, he founded the Kilgore Men and Women's Alliance, celebrating local heroes. His Kilgore Legacy Foundation sows seeds of opportunity through scholarships. Additionally, Victor volunteers at the local elementary school, guiding struggling third-grade students. As Victor Boyd sets his sights on the 9th annual KMWA Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Award celebration and a 5th term as a city councilman, he told me, "I just want to serve however I can."
Thank you for listening to the Varsity Sports Show, where our mission is to empower education and enable dreams, creating an unmatched platform to showcase talent both in front of and behind the microphone in radio, television, podcast, and live streaming. The Varsity Sports Show, still your home for youth, high school, college, and you in Arizona and beyond.
Broadcast.